Thank you all for coming today. These are the final presentations for Olin.js. It's a class that Jalia, Corey, David Gaynor, and myself have taught this semester, along with the help of some very helpful TAs, Aaron Greenberg, Paul Booth, anyone else we should thank? Based on Alan Downey, our faculty advisor. And this was a class which was taught after a few classes we had taken during our careers at Olin, which were very influential toward our development in CS. And with a lot of the support from kids in this class, we decided that we would put this together for the benefit of them, for the benefit of us, so we could learn as teachers and as programmers and as engineers. So we're about to see 10 presentations today on a variety of different topics, basically the culmination of the different efforts that all these students have had this semester. We're really excited to see it, so we won't wait any further. Thank you all for coming.
The format is 5 minutes presentation, 3 minutes of questions, and we're going to try and keep it to that, so sorry for quick.
All right, hey everybody, I'm Do Young.
I'm Amanda.
And our product or web app was called BuildX, and it's actually an Olin app. So you sign in with your Olin app ID.
Can we lower the light?
Let me just do that for you right now. buildx.olinapps.com. Unfortunately, auto signs me in. So, but it works. Trust me. You can do it on your computer. You can follow along with us. So essentially, what our product is, you have ideas you have, but perhaps you don't have the time or the resources, or that window of opportunity to make that idea a reality has already passed. For example, you took UOCD, POE, or maybe even Olin.js. You have a great app idea that you have, but unfortunately, Olin.js is over. What do? Never fear. You put it on our website. What you can do is you can submit an idea or a project. Here, well, it's a little messed up because of the window thing. Don't worry about it. You could have the name of an idea. Let's see. I don't know, an app that combines different music files and makes a infinite jukebox playlist out of it. Okay, that's cool. We'll call it Arc Reactor. And I worked on it with Mason and Josh. And what we did, this would be an idea. So this app would create a infinite mashup. Woo! Submit the idea. Now, what the cool thing about this is on the homepage. The new ideas, see over there, they will update when there are new ideas. Right here, as you can see, Arc Reactor. This is something we put in previously. They also has a list of projects that people have submitted. These are completed projects that people have done. If you have a cool project, awesome project you did in class, or maybe a passion pursuit, you can submit that here. Dana Lee is actually me on Olin Apps. It's a long story, but I submitted those things.
Oh, sure. Okay, so for submitting your projects or ideas, we had this awesome idea. We want to make it as easy as possible for people to submit their things because we talked to some people and they said the reason they're not submitting to things like Olin projects is because they either don't think they have a project that's worthy enough or they just don't want to write on something. So what we did is we had something where you can go directly into your Dropbox folder and then you can basically take anything from there and upload it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to upload a cover photo.
This is real time.
Yeah, we haven't planned this at all. So I'm just going to pick the only image model I see there. And so that's going to be our cover photo for the project. And then we can choose an assortment of files that will also be associated with the project on our website. So I'm going to pick this one. Oh. I'm going to pick
our PCB maybe, and our final report. We added in, and we could choose those. And it will be in the page files that are related to this project. And this is a very easy and accessible way of seeing all the projects people have done. And what's cool is if you go to my profile, which we'll show you in just a second, it will show you a list of projects you've submitted as well as ideas you've adopted. Now, what is adopting an idea? Well, after people have submitted ideas, what you can do is adopt these ideas. And what this essentially means is that I really like this idea. I want to go through with this and make this become a reality. And it's sort of like saying, well, no, that's the image. Don't worry. It looks like an error. This is actually an image. This is the image of my code that we use. Everybody calm down. So adopt an idea is here. You can adopt this idea, and then it'll show up, adopted, Dana Lee, that's me. And if you go, perhaps you don't want to adopt an idea, but you want to say, hey, I support this idea. I want to make this, I want to see this happen, but I just don't really want to be a part of it. Then I can upvote it or show support. And what it would do is, after I refresh it, it will, and what's cool is, I can't do it multiple times, because that would just be ridiculous. Now, perhaps you didn't, perhaps you didn't hear anything I just said, or you didn't understand because I talked too fast. We have a page called What is BuildX. It tells you everything that our website does in a more comprehensible and simple way. And we just really hope that this web app is a easy and accessible way for students to use, to be able to submit projects, submit ideas, and get inspired by what other students have done to make the community a more innovative and learn a healthy environment for learning and projects.
So what Joy forgot to tell you is that we also have a feature that has your own profile, your personal profile that stores all your. Okay. It has your projects and your job readies, and we were thinking that maybe this is like a basic profile for like a basic template for like a portfolio that you can show to employers. That's just very nice to have.
Normally there's an image of you, which is very nice. Since Dana Lee is a Wellesley student, we don't have a photo of it. But it is connected to the Olin Apps directory, which is really great. So all the information we have about students is actually available from the Olin Apps website directly into this. It's a great way of integrating different parts of the Olin Apps community with this website. Any questions?
What was the first part?
Yeah. Hardest part?
So there were like two hardest parts. The first one was, so Olin apps, to get all the information, it comes in a JSON, but there were some weird authorization issues, and so like I would try and get it, and then it would just disappear and be like, there's nothing in this JSON file, and so I had to like manually put it in our own database. And then the other part was we tried to really incorporate this in Dropbox. We thought it would be really cool if you could just upload your things to a folder, and then you would automatically get it from that folder. Fortunately, we didn't have time, and it was a little difficult.
This is the next best thing. It's still very awesome, and I think a big improvement from what it was previously.
So two things. Where are you storing the files?
Oh, so the files that we're all using are mostly they're all hosted on Dropbox. So
Yeah, that's way better. And then the second is a lot of the discussions around all the projects on Build Day was around private and public projects, like things which we think students want to talk about internally versus things they want to show their employers. And I'm just wondering, like, what are your thoughts behind private versus public?
We think that's definitely something we should consider. Just finish this question, I guess. So this right now is all private since you can only access it if you have an Olin account. So this, I guess, would be an internally Olin community focused group. But I think once we have sites in other colleges that make this actually a public web app, then it's time to think about like making these projects be public. All right, thank you very much.
Does anyone in this room have a dongle for hooking up Macs to the projector? Okay. If not, I'm gonna go grab it. Do you need one? Yeah, we got it. I'm gonna fix that Dropbox shit right now. Shit.
What's wrong with it?
It doesn't link to the right thing, I think I fixed it, but then it didn't push the fix. So I'm gonna fix
You
that.
mean the one in the bottom with the list?
Yeah, the list of files. I'm glad you didn't talk about that.
You just drink it. Yeah. Why don't we just do that?
My archive is Josh Nation. What we did this semester was, to have everything up. So imagine you're trying to figure out what exactly you want to make for yourself in order to eat. There's lots of options you can do. You can go like something like bread, meat, with other like nuts and soy stuff. But a lot of the stuff is that some people have a problem of is that they can be allergic to a lot of things. For example, say someone's allergic to gluten, but they don't have to be just allergic to gluten. They can be allergic to soy, and corn, and milk, and they could be vegetarian. And they can't eat dill, or sesame, or raspberries, or nuts, or peanuts, or carrots, or cabbage, and heaven forbid, swordfish. But about this point in time, you can't find anything, even if you like search for the internet. There's always just something you have, and at this point, you'll probably just be satisfied eating about anything. So what we probably were trying to solve is that even if you're looking up recipes and stuff on websites, you're still getting stuff that you can't or you don't want to eat. So for this, we came up with a solution was Everything Left, which is a website where it finds recipes filtered out based on like what you prefer, but most importantly, stuff that you can't eat or have to avoid. The basic idea is that you have tag searching, which has geared to like specific words. You can add your own recipes as well as search other existing recipes. You can pick your favorite recipes or see what other people with similar preferences and allergies and stuff are eating. And plus, you can also save it, set default search. So the result is, you have the same guy from before. He has all these original options trying to figure out those rooms. You just filter them out and narrow it down to a lot more easier to pick options.
Alright, so now we're going to do our demo. Mason is going to go through sort of the phases of what we've got here. The first thing we're going to do, obviously, is log in. Oh, we're already logged in. What's going on here? Okay, well, it's okay. We're already logged in. We're logging in with Google. Very simple, very easy. One button click and you're in. And we're going to start in our profile page. And as you can see here, we got a couple aspects on our profile page. You can see preferences that I've selected as my default search terms. And you can also see the recipes that I've picked as my favorite recipes so far over on the other side. So if I want to change my search terms, maybe I have a new allergy or something, and I want to click in there, and I'm now lactose intolerant. So I'm going to save my preferences, and now anytime I do a search, unless I tell it otherwise, it will default to searching for only things that lactose intolerant people can eat. Additionally, I can do things like change my username, but we're going to go to the search page, and so when you get to the search page, you have automatically filled in those default fields you set earlier, but you can also add new ones, or if for some reason you want to remove your defaults, say like you're looking for something to cook for somebody else, then you can go through and you can change those around. So maybe we like cheesy food. And we're really in the mood for dim sum right now. So we're going to search for dim sum. And so we have two columns of recipes. This one on the left is another server of recipes that we're grabbing from. And so that will find you a bunch of dim sum. And then on the right, if there were any dim sum recipes in our database, you would see those then. So we can click on one of these recipes and add it to our database. And then now it gets its own recipe page. And we can change things about it, like the tags. We can edit. Since we're lactose intolerant, this is really good for lactose intolerant people. And we're going to say, hey, if you're lactose intolerant, go for this dim sum. It's fantastic. We can also edit the description. We can favorite it. We can do all sorts of things here. And so if we hit that favorite button, it'll show up back up on our profile page from earlier. And now, if we go back to our search, and we search for dim sum again, it'll show up on the right there as a user recipe. It has all the metadata associated with what we told it. So if you click the see recipe button, you'll get brought back to that same search page from before. So I've done all the searching. This is fantastic. I found recipes I like. But sometimes, even after I've searched, there's still going to be not exactly what I want. Or I have a recipe that I really like and I want to share it with everybody else. So if I want to make a new recipe, I go to the Create Recipe page, and I can type in all the information about my recipe and put in an image if I want to. If we don't put in an image, it'll just automatically grab a no image available, and you can add it later as well. So we'll just type in a quick recipe here. Sprinkles. We're making rainbow sprinkles. So
Yeah.
Rainbow sprinkles are fantastic. I really like rainbow sprinkles, so I'm going to put in my famous rainbow sprinkle recipe into the database. And if we search for rainbow sprinkles, right, so a search result will only come up if it matches everything you've put in. So that way, if you're lactose intolerant and gluten-free, you type both of those in, you're only going to get things that are both lactose and gluten-free. You're not going to get things that are one or the other. So now we have sprinkles. We can go to the sprinkle page. We can do all the same things that we used to be able to do with sprinkles. And that's basically everything. We also have a home page that shows you the most recent recipes and the top recipes, so you can see the how many people have favorited it. And that's everything. Any questions?
Can you explain something we're using this from this and Yumly?
Sorry, say again?
This versus Yumly, like what are the similarities?
So Yumly is basically, it scrapes lots of other recipe sites. So it has a really large database, which is nice, but it doesn't have as much in the way of search terms, and it won't be able to find you recipes that match all of your search criteria nearly as well. So what we've decided as a solution is if we didn't have Yumly searching in here, then the database would be basically empty at the beginning and nobody would ever want to use it. So we've decided to have that sort of as an option of sort of you get worse search results, but they're still search results, and then eventually, once we had enough users that we would have a large enough database of things with tags and everything, we want to phase that out.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, it's kind of along the same lines. So Yumly is I apologize, Yumly is some sort of
So it's another
site that's already out there that you're
right.
just tapping into on the outside. You have no connection, you have no relationship with them.
No.
I mean, if next year you want to tap into somebody else's database, you have to rebuild whatever interface you have with
It's
them. Or
pretty quick sort of API. We look up, use the metadata to make recipes. We could probably change that around fairly easily. And also the hope is that we wouldn't need that fairly shortly after launch because we'd be generating enough of our own recipes
the
that our
goal is to
database would grow.
eventually generate your own.
Right.
There's a lot of recipes floating around out
Yes.
there. You don't want to reinvent the wheel.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I see?
Yeah. I just started this.
You could just go to an object page or something.
Oh, yeah. Oops.
No. Okay.
I deleted something by accident. Oh. I did like the parentheses. That was so. That was so dumb.
Hi, we're another recipe team. We decided that we also like the problem of what was mentioned, that there are so many recipes out there on the internet, and it's hard to know what to do with them. So you have all these recipe websites where they have an internal way to save or bookmark all the recipes that you like. But if you like recipes on all these different sites, it's kind of hard to put them all in one place and share them and edit them. So we're kind of looking at that problem space rather than the more allergy-focused one. So we have an example persona. All about personas. This is Sam. Sam and I do a lot of baking together. And I know that Sam saves recipes on her computer by bookmarking the web pages that they come from. So she has a massive folder, subfolders, bookmarks, and if she wants to find a recipe, she has to navigate through that whole system, find the one she wants, and then if we're going to be doing it together, she might then have to email it to me. That's kind of a long, complicated process. So we wanted to address that area and come up with something better and easier. So our solution for this is My Recipe Box, which is our Chrome extension. It has an easy visual way to organize your recipes and put them in different folders, and just do that directly from the web page. It's very easy to share them with friends who are also using this extension. And you can add notes. We were initially thinking to be able to directly edit the ingredients and instructions, and we didn't quite get to that. So you can just add notes to tell yourself, I really like this with a different ingredient or something like that.
So now we're going to demonstrate our Chrome extension. If I navigate to the Chrome Web Store, then I can search for my recipe box and go ahead and add it to my Chrome. And that'll appear as an icon in the upper right-hand corner of my browser. So if I click on this extension, I can first log in or create an account. But since I don't have an account yet, I'll create an account. And I want to log in as Sam, since she's our example user. So I'll be Sam D and use password. And then I have to confirm my password.
No one tells the password. Now you can all log in.
And then I am automatically logged in as Sam D. So the first thing I can do is create a new folder, for example, appetizers. And maybe I'll create a couple more, like dinner and dessert. And they're organized alphabetically. So now that I have my folders created, I want to go and add recipes to them. I'm going to search for some gluten-free cupcakes on allrecipes.com. And pick chocolate because that looks good. And now I click on the Chrome extension again, and I can add it to my dessert folder by clicking the plus icon next to it. And then it shows you visually that's been added. And I want to look at my recipes that are in my dessert folder by clicking the dessert icon. So you can see I have my gluten-free chocolate cupcakes in my dessert folder. So
The
now
scale
I want
looks
to
a little
add,
bit better.
yeah, it's a little bit strange. So I want to add a note. These are delicious.
Apparently.
And it's added. So now I want to share this with my friend Mandy, who's gluten-free. And I can see that Mandy has been added to the shared with list. And if I log out and I'm no longer Sam, I can log in as Mandy. And I can see all Mandy's folders, and I can also see that there's newly shared dessert folder. And it has the gluten-free cupcakes.
Pretty much what we have. We can bring in image data, and this will link back to the recipe on the original website. We have that for 5 or 6 of the more major recipe websites that are out there. Questions?
I did.
Why did you take the route of a browser plugin and not some other type of experience?
Some of it was for our own learning that we kind of wanted to do a Chrome extension to see what that was like. Also just that sort of it's easily accessible when you're browsing a lot of different recipe websites. And then rather than opening a whole other page, you can just use that extension that's there. So sort of convenience.
What was the hardest part of this part?
We had a lot of probably unnecessary trouble with authentication. We first tried to use Google authentication, then we tried to use Facebook authentication, and a lot of these didn't play very nicely with the Chrome extension because of various redirect and getting stuck So we eventually ended up using Decrypt, and it was actually pretty simple, but it took us a while to get to that point.
I didn't quite understand, so are you then allowed access to your friends' recipe files?
If they share a folder with you, then you can see all the recipes that they've put in that folder and shared with you. So our sort of basis model for that was something like Dropbox, where if you have a shared folder, you can both add files to that folder and see them. But you could definitely also have private folders if you don't want to share recipes.
Can you alter these recipes that you get from another website? Could you go in and add other ingredients to it? You're going to add nuts or something like that?
Yeah. Our goal was to be able to import all the instructions and ingredients into our webpage and edit them directly. What we have currently is just a notes field. So you can say, add walnuts instead of peanuts, and then you and your friends will be able to see that. But that's about the extent of modification capabilities.
Can you share just a single recipe, or do you have to share a whole folder?
Our sharing model is just with folders, so you could share a folder with one recipe in it, but not direct recipe sharing. Sort of a decision to keep the organization constant so that you're always going to see things based on folders, so we wouldn't have another layer of also individual. That's our thing.
I'm so glad we went first. There are so many people here right now. Oh my god, wait, be a donut. Such a rough day. At one point, we were like shaking because we were so pumped up on caffeine. What is David Gaynor doing? Okay, so I made an app called Internopolis, and the idea is that basically we all get internships, and each summer we go off and we have this like awesome job opportunity that we're really excited about. We never think about all the things that go into that, like the fact that we're relocating across the country in a lot of cases. So the questions arise: where am I going to live? Who am I going to live with? And how the heck does anyone do this when they're a full-time student? Like for me, every year it's like the last minute, I'm scrambling to call Craigslist people. It's a total mess. I've been through it 3 times, and honestly, it's terrible. So, in the past, I've done things like running groups where you can see, like, these were last summer's roommates. We had, like, pictures of our bills, and we had email threads that were crazy, and we were just doing all kinds of things. We were calling each other, we were calling housing listings, we weren't coordinating. 2 out of the 5 people in the house knew what was going on at any time, and it was just not fun. So, I'm going to address that. And I'll preface it by saying that this is a big opportunity. There's not 20.3 billion college kids that are 20.3 million. It was early this morning. And of those kids nationwide, 40% will do an internship before they leave college. And in the case of Olin and a lot of engineering schools, they do a lot of internships, like maybe 2 or 3 in their college career. So I created a one-stop shop for students to basically find housing, roommate, and manage all their utilities and group living things, and it's all in one place. So basically, it's almost like a Pinterest type concept for roommates to collaborate on finding all these different things. So what it allows you to do is it provides an interface for searching for the housing and for the roommates, and it kind of makes that process nicer than if you had to go out to Craigslist and copy and scheduling and stuff. And it has a matching algorithm that will pair you with who it thinks are the most suitable roommates. It also allows you to pin these listings and then share them with the group and follow up and divvy up who does what. And then eventually, and I haven't developed this part yet, it will have all the capability to manage this group living experience. So let's do a demo. It might scale weirdly because of the screen size. So you log in with Facebook. And right now I have one group which was, say I'm interning at Facebook this summer. Let's create a new group for the sake of just showing how this works. So say Cambridge House Hunt. My friends and I need to find a place in Cambridge. So right now, there's not really much going on there. Let's say I want to look at some roommates. Well, let's look at Boston friends. And you can like change your different criteria based on your preferences. Say I like to go to bed super early, etc., etc.
Let's say Boston again.
Okay. Well, I like John. I could live with John. I'm going to add him to my Cambridge House Hunt group. Then when I go home, I'm going to see. Well, that's weird. That was wrong. Anyway, if you can also look at housing listings. These are actually straight from Craigslist. So this was pretty much the hardest part of the project. Craigslist likes to change up their UI a bunch, so screen scraping will break frequently. And so going forward, I need to find a better, more robust way to do this. But these are San Francisco housing listings, and I just typed that in because that's the area that I'm most interested in. And I'll add that to my Facebook one. I'm not searching for reference anymore. So now I can go and look at my group, see what's in there. I've started some roommates previously. I have a few housing listings. Cool. Now I want to invite some friends to this group. So how about I invite Julia Wong? Basically, you can invite your Facebook friends or just email your other friends. And it'll let people come in and collaborate in real time. So, that is generally correct. Any questions?
So for roommates, you're drawing on all of your Facebook friends, or like the larger network if possible?
So right now, because there aren't any other users on the site, if you look at like San Francisco, for example, this is just my friends who live in San Francisco. With the idea being you might be able to follow up with these people about housing needs and stuff, but eventually when there are users, it will mostly be consisting of people who have filled out profile information and are active in these programs. David?
What's the next most important feature you want to add?
Next best is Craigslist map. So you can, there'll be a big map, you can click on different things and then go to those listings.
If I wanted to communicate between people in the group, like what would be the best approach now? What would be the best approach, like if you were to launch this project?
Eventually, the best approach I think would be like comments on different things that you could tag people in, like task tagging basically. I mean, chat could be useful, but I don't know why you would spend time chatting on there when you could just type the decent stuff.
So you talked a little bit about the market opportunity. Have you thought about how you would go about monetizing some of
this?
I mean, I think with something like this, it could be really useful if you went directly to recruiters and actually said, here's this tool that you could give to your 200 interns, like big companies that have tons of interns, to collaborate so that you don't have to do all that manual coordination. It saves a lot of HR.
Idea pitch?
Is it on record?
No, just you later.
Hey, David. Where's David? David, are you gonna handle the Ubuntu protection?
What is that? Sweet. Third. I think. Wait. I think they're the fourth. And they're 10. So it's going faster. It's not gonna take 2 hours. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna take 2 hours. Yeah, why do we have an internal one?
Huh?
Why do we?
Because they're gonna give us bagels.
Oh, right.
Alright, hi, we're IdeaFish, and we're another idea project kind of like BuildX. What we wanted to do is have a nice, simple website for people to post ideas, possibly anonymously, and get them evaluated, possibly adopted, get feedback on them, and just a nice simple way to, again, share ideas in a non-committal fashion. So, if I can get my mouse on the screen. There we go. So let's say we want to create an idea. Just go in and make an idea. things are a little wacky with the zoom levels. Let's try to make let's say an ideas website exactly like what we have right here. We can add a description. We've got tags. Tags are just searchable collections of things. And we will make it, and an ideal website will pop up. Here, we could go on the website, we could read it, we could insert a comment if we wanted. If we wanted to like organize or talk to the person, get in contact with them, and so we could say, hey, I'm interested in working, let's meet up. We could post that, and then we have a comment here. Additionally, we wanted to help with possibly ideation, so we offer this little guide that will randomly display you some of the current ideas. And another ideation technique is basically a mashup to take two ideas and display them side by side. So we can also get random mashups of our ideas to help us associate. And let's say you need an idea for an Olin.js project, and this would be a good way to just try to combine things. You probably don't want to combine a zoo with an idea website, but if there was a larger catalog of ideas, we'd probably find some interesting correlations, and this just works nice and quick. We have our home page. It's got links to the same stuff. There's the idea pool. Additionally, we have nice search functionality, so we can just click a tag. It'll search and pull up all the tags that are related. You can also search, and it'll do the same thing as well. So let's say we want to search unicycle, and it'll find unicycle. Additionally, we have voting up and down features. So again, because I ended up making this thing, it'll switch between the up and down votes. If I can click the up vote, I don't think it's apologies for that. It's impossible, but yeah. So you can switch between the two if you wanted, and again, it'll lock you, so you can only vote once, and it'll sync in with the database. So yeah, we just wanted a really simple, non-committal way to share. You can create things anonymously. So let's say. I don't know. Let's say we wanted to make a Olin.js, and we could do a description, and again we could do it anonymously, and it would show up as anonymous here. So again, you're non-committal with this, and it's just nice and simple, and you can get feedback from your ideas. Yep.
What are you using to log into this?
Right now it's a Facebook login because I was already logged in. It just automatically took me to the page. But again, you don't have to necessarily associate. Once you have a Facebook login, it's just authorizing you, and then you don't have to choose to associate it with your account. It's using the anonymous functionality. In the back?
Alright, what if did you think about what if I only want to share my idea with a small group of people?
We don't currently have that functionality. It would be a great add-on, though. Definitely.
Yeah. So for the mashup feature, that's pretty awesome. What's the motivation for like that, and how do you think people would use it in practice?
Again, we just think it can help with ideation techniques, and we'd like to expand out several more ideation techniques, and you could really leverage the idea content that is created on the website, and this is one way to do that.
Suppose you have a plan starts working on it, and then you decide to start working on it on your own, so you want to take it down. Is that at all possible?
Not currently. Again, there's anonymous functionality, but again, not currently.
Is this intended for use within an organization or just out in the ether?
Right now, this was more planned to just be out in the wide internet. We didn't build this specifically for an organization. We just wanted an easy, low-level way to just throw your ideas out there and get feedback on them.
Coplace next?
You want to say lots of that?
I have to
Oh, it's okay. I don't want to see that. It wasn't that bad, but like me and Doug were really nervous.
Early in the morning. Understand.
Early in the morning.
I'm so
Or
sad.
late in the night.
I'm really. I'm crashing so hard today. We haven't slept.
Here's a question.
Uh,
The next presentation. You guys have your presentation on who has your presentation on Google Drive or someplace publicly accessible? Who doesn't? Yeah. Just make sure your computer's set up and ready to go, like resolution wise. So plug it in.
Just make sure you know how to change this.
Yeah, I guess like find in there that is usually better.
Yes, I feel that.
Once in.
I think that you only present once. Twice.
Yes,
So we're comply. We're CoPlay, and we're pretty much social music done right. So say you have a group of people, and they all have different musical tastes. So like Madison's into like 60s stuff or whatever. I'm into all this weird electronic music that no one would ever want to listen to except me. But I want my taste equally represented when we're in a group and we're playing music together. Like say we're in the lounge or something, and we just have like one person playing music for the entire lounge. And it's not, some people would say, you know, hey, I want my music to be played, but that one person is already hooked up to all the speakers or whatever, so you can't even change your laptop sound. So CoPlay is a way to easily represent a group's musical taste through one computer. So say we're all listening to music together, and I create a station on CoPlay. So Madison and Derek can join, and they add their own music, and so the radio station that I created has all of our own music, or like all of our music. So how our app differentiates itself from all the other musical apps out there is mostly ease of use. So say we have turntables, which is some people would say, how does your app different from turntable? And so for one, turntable is where people take turns DJing a room, and so CoPlay, you don't take turns, and CoPlay already generates a single playlist for you, so you don't have to actively pick your tracks. And then with Spotify, the social and the radio functionality are pretty separate. Like you can make a radio station out of any track or artist or album or whatever, but you can't mix them together, and you can't really share it with your friends. Like with Spotify, the friend functionality is like just following them to see what's on their entire playlist. And then finally, Pandora used to have a group radio feature where you could mix stations together, but it's right now it's like really hard to find on their website. Plus, each person has to have their own station already ready to mix together, and that requires the Pandora. And so these people, what's the catch? And pretty much there is no catch. So CoPlay is free. CoPlay does not put any tracking cookies that follow you all the way across the internet. CoPlay doesn't take any of your personal information. You don't really care. And then finally, CoPlay only uses your Facebook friends list for finding people to share music.
Okay. Still talking. Let's actually do it.
Yes.
Okay. So say we're in this room and we'd like to listen to music together. So what we're going to do is we're going to broadcast the station, and we'll seed it with like some classic music, the Eagles. And here we have a station that's been generated, and you can see what's playing. In itself, that's
not all that unique. It's kind of neat because it's generating suggestions based on your preferences. But the cool functionality comes when you have two users. So what I'm going to do right now is open up a second browser window where I'm logged in as Tom. So if I refresh this page, I'll see the live demo pop up. And he can go to this station, play that, and he can say, output this song. And here you can see the musical tastes have been updated. And he can also add music. So say he likes Boston. You can make sure that that's also represented in our taste preferences. So now you'll also see, if I go back to the original window I was in, you'll see I'm logged in as Mason. You'll see that Mason has joined the station. And that the taste, the station setup, the playlist, is represented in our wheel. So in essence, it's a simple way to do collaborative music. Let's see, some other features. We had a very brief look at the locate page. This actually uses geolocation to find your location and then display stations that are nearby you. So if theoretically there are 1,000 different stations out there on the internet, this would only display a small subset of those that are close geographically. If you, say, wanted to find something that wasn't close geographically. Okay. Cool. Final thing to demo is if you find something that's not geographically close, you can use our live search function to locate stations. That's about it.
Question? Yep. Can you go back to the locate page and zoom out a bit?
Yeah.
I get the impression that.
Yeah, you can actually see this is the Olin. Yep.
So if you have multiple people on the station, are they all synced up? And like if one person sings the song, looks different for everybody?
So you'll see that when one person starts to broadcast, they're called the host. And so right now they're actually the only one that's actually playing new music. All the others can only see what's being played and upvote for downvote. There's only one person who's playing, since the use case that we see is that all these people are all in a room, and so you really don't need more than one person to be playing music at the time.
Where's the music coming from? Are you using an API or do the users have to own the music?
Yes, this is coming from GrooveShark. Their streaming API under the condition that we feature them on our homepage. Eventually, we'll also be posting ads from them in order to pay for the music that we're playing.
Is that a general agreement that GrooveShark allows you to have, or do you guys actually have to work on something like that?
So that's just the general thing that they set up. They allow you access to their public API in exchange for an ad. And then if you're actually using the streaming API, it's just a standard thing that you have to host an ad on the streaming page as well.
Thanks.
Hey guys, just to remind you, after all the presentations, we'll have about 40 to 30 minutes of like one-on-one questions for all the apps. The apps will be set up, and you can go demo the apps live and talk to the creators about bagels and stuff. So make sure you stick around for all the presentations and hang out for that.
everybody. Our app is called Follow Along, and it's an app that's supposed to help connect teachers that like to use interactive tutorials or go on the internet or generally use their browsers to help teach more interesting classes. And yeah, our app is supposed to make the teachers better connect to the students. We were inspired by the beginning of this class actually when the teachers had made these nice tutorials for us to follow along with that basically teach us how to do the basic programming that we've done here. And you know, we spent a lot of time basically playing catch up when we were trying to follow along with these tutorials. They like asked us to copy paste code into our code editors, and sometimes you didn't really know where they were. You had to basically do a lot of playing catch up. And so we thought that would be really cool if there was an app that let you really closely follow along with what your teacher was doing in your own browser. Basically, like replicating what they're doing on your browser, so that you always knew where they were and what they were doing. And we also thought that a neat feature that the teachers also came up with was simple anonymous feedback, where the students could really easily just hit a button and say, hey, can you slow down? You're going too fast for me, or speed up, this is kind of boring. So those are our two key features that we wanted, and here's a quick demo and talk about it.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to start a little session right here. So I'm ready to present.
Try resizing the window so it's like halfway down the page.
So on the teacher side of things, we have a Chrome extension that basically watches what you're doing and reports it to the students who are just looking at a regular website.
All right, so let's just see how we do here. So let's say we want to start broadcasting a lesson, and I'm going to call this Expo 2013. And you guys can actually follow along with this if you'd like. Okay, so I'm going to need some extensions here, so we're going to go to npm. That's going to take a little bit to load. Okay, so now let's go to, let's pretend we're now following along with this lecture. And we're going to go over here and search Expo 2013, because we want to follow along with the teacher. Now you'll see that there's nothing here right now. It says that class isn't in session right now, but that's where your class is actually in session. One thing we thought of was that if you're a teacher, there's some serious privacy issues with just kind of broadcasting whatever is in their browser could lead to like, some really bad situations. Like let's say if you're on your personal Facebook, or if you're doing something not related to the class, you don't want to be sending that out to everybody. So we put in this little feature that I'm going to go to.
I think you can control minus the extension.
Oh, really? Okay, well, whatever, let's just work with this here. So now I want to actually start leading. So we're going to press lead here. And I'm going to say, welcome to class. Now I'm going to give a little plug to Professor Downey here, because he wrote a really neat textbook that's available online. So we're going to go to his website and look at Think Python. And we're going to teach some Python today. Yay. Okay, so we're looking at variables here, and let's say I'm just teaching this class. We're going to go over and see that on the student side of things, whatever was on the teacher's computer is now in the browser. Kind of one of the neater features here is that if we split screen, sorry the windows are so small, but you can follow along as well. If you go to ojfinal.herokuapp.com, just type in Expo 2013 underscore 2013. So the neat feature here is that you can, as I switch tabs here, it shows right in this iframe here. If I go back, hopefully it will scroll. sure sync is on. Alright, doesn't want to scroll.
Stop.
What?
Stop.
Oh man, this is so annoying.
Got a 20 point screen.
Yeah. Tiny, tiny little screen, and it's still okay, let's see. Let's try this again. Okay, so let's say remember to. Sorry, there's so many windows. Okay, well it's not working out, but usually you'd be able to scroll on the demo, and the user side would just scroll right along. Now, some of the other features are if you want to, let's see these buttons over here. If you're really lost, usually we found that while we were in class, you'd be too embarrassed to actually say that, hey, can you please slow down? So we wanted anonymous feedback here, and also if you're trying to catch up with the teacher, you'd want to, you're actually doing other things instead of raising your hand and saying, I'm lost. So you're struggling to catch up, so you just click slow down, I'm lost, and it shows right up in the Chrome extension. Another feature is the sync button. So if you say want to look up, what a function is, you can navigate away and scroll down and check, hey, what does function mean? You can just press sync and it'll bring you right back to where the teacher is, which we thought was a really important feature. Any questions?
Not to put you on the spot, did you like products like this or like teacher leading student kind of projects? Are you familiar with that?
Oh, yeah, the big challenge with something like this is that you need to know a lot about what the teacher is doing. You need to have like, full access to the browser and everything. So I think that's why we have to see it before. We couldn't think of any other way to decide to do like a native application or consumption.
So from a technology point of view, like what's the one thing you guys are most proud of? There's a lot of stuff going on. So
I think the one that at least I personally am most proud for is the actual syncing one. We thought at first we expected that to be like the biggest challenge. But
So I was sorry. So one of the features was that you could create different rooms so that you're not broadcasting to everyone that's on the app at one point, and I had the wrong room entered in. So now that we're actually on Expo 2013, we can actually look through this tutorial and our scrolls with you. Yeah, sorry that blew up. Any other questions? Okay.
Alright, you guys look
team.
If it's hard, especially if it changes. Okay.
that's like the normal thing. Like that.
How's everyone doing?
Ah.
Alright, so we're Team Up. I'm Shane, this is Ari, this is Grant. So what we made is an app to let friends do fun, interesting, challenging activities together. And so it's all sorts of things, whatever they're passionate about, from programming to philosophical discussions to writing poetry to just going out and doing really fun, crazy things. And what the basic idea is, it's an app where you make a team together, and you'd have this team profile, and you'd go on and find the different challenges that interest you. So let's say I love programming, and my friends and I found this programming challenge about how can you make a better algorithm for driving a van. I would go sit down on Saturday and figure out what to do and then submit it. And the people who submitted this challenge to us can then go and see which submission they like the best.
So what sets us apart from the other idea/team generating projects out there is that ours is really all about the people who are making the projects happen. So there are a bunch of projects out there. Everyone's got some creative ideas. You can in fact go with your team and produce ideas for the website. But what really sets us apart is that if you make a team, you're with that team, and you stick with that team for the entire time. So you work together, you come up with new challenges together, and you submit your challenges and you rank your challenges together. The other thing is we have incentives to create challenges. So if I create a challenge, if I am a person who, so I will describe it, I'll give a prompt, and let people know what I'm expecting from this challenge. If a team comes and wants to complete that challenge, and they make it their little personal project to complete it, then I give them an incentive, to complete it. I will have a little perhaps financial incentive, or I'll link you to a congratulatory video if you complete my challenge.
Alright, so we'll do a quick demo. Okay, so alright, so let's say that we're going to log in. Our team name is Team Awesome.
You can too.
And so we log in, and it takes us to a challenge browser. And so these are all challenges that other teams have uploaded. And so it says cat a fruit, create a 5-year plan, design a car, or write a haiku. So these are all challenges that are in there. We're going to go to our team profile page. If you go there, you can see which challenges we've created. So we've created cat a fruit, and which projects we're working on. So right now we are designing a car, so we can view that project. And so basically it says, build a car using eco-friendly materials. So we're going to say, okay, we're going to make a car out of leaves. And we make a car out of leaves, and we get a picture of it. So it says their car. So we take this, and we can submit it in this submit link. So here you would submit whatever is applicable to the project. So if you're coding, you could do a GitHub link. So right now we're just doing an image. Sorry, I have to add. Oh, sorry there. Okay, so we can submit it. Let's see. If as a team, if we wanted to create a challenge, we could also go to the create a challenge page. We put in a project name. We put in when we want that project to end, what category it is. Right now we have fun, programming, writing, mechanical design, and politics. We can add a prize, give a prompt and background, and submit the challenge.
Any questions?
So what if I win a challenge?
What can you get? Like, what's the prize?
Yeah, let's say, what kind of prizes do we get?
Well, I guess it depends who's going to be putting it in. On the one hand, we have the people who are a team who can put it in. I'm sure their prizes will be a little smaller, but they'll things that are kind of more related to the challenge. But then again, the long-term dream goal would have companies we want to see what you can do with our product. Like Pepsi, do something fun with a ton of Pepsi cans, and then maybe they'd give a year's supply of Pepsi. So then I think if we got more of those type of things, we could get some really awesome prizes.
So like for cat fruit, you can see the prize is a fruit.
Do you have any ways of sort of coordinating the submissions and the prizes so that the people who submitted it make sure that they get their prize, and the people who made the challenge make sure that this is a real submission?
So we haven't implemented yet, but the idea is that when someone makes a submission, they will get an email. So the person would create a challenge, get an email, and then they would be able to review the submission. And once they picked one as a winner, whoever submitted that would also get an email notification saying that they won. And so they would have to
if you, once you've won, you can come back in a while and say, this person never gave me that prize, but they did give me that prize. And then that person will get a rating for how honest they are.
Kind of like Amazon and their seller rating.
Hardest part of the project.
We had, I think, like a lot of different web pages going on, you had different people doing things. And then when we put the pieces together, we had some issues. The integration was interesting. I think there was like a lot of communication, but there was a lot of communication that had to be done. We did most of it. And a few things that missed kind of like stood under the cracks for a while, and we found them, it was very confusing.
Scoping the project was also really hard. We were way more ambitious when we started out, and this is a very scaled down version of what we wanted to do. So just trying to figure out what we were able to inform people.
The image that you picked, that green card that you submitted, can you see it in your web status? You know, somebody submitted this picture.
You mean the person who judges it?
She selected a green card, submitted it. Where did that submission of the picture go?
Yeah. So we had a little issue this morning where we had the person who was going to choose the prize could go to their page and see all the submissions and then choose one they liked the best. And then this morning at about 8 a.m. that stopped working. And we had a frantic thing to get that back on. And we got most of it back working, but not enough to show.
But if you create a challenge and then you navigate to this page, it would just be below here. You'd be able to see all of the submissions and make your decision accordingly.
No,
I think I'm moving to go to work because I have a lot of teammates.
Other one. There's one the first step.
Hello everyone, I'm Aman, this is Juliana, this is Rainer, and our app's called TurnTube.tv. So, we've all probably been to this site more than once in our lives. If you're like me, you probably go to this every day and spend an hour trying to watch awesome videos on it. However, every minute there's about 70 hours of video that's uploaded to YouTube. So that means since the time this presentation started, there's about 500 hours of video footage that's been uploaded to YouTube. There's about 1 billion unique views per month. So there's a lot of content that goes on YouTube. But trying to find that content is always a challenge for people like me who are avid fans of a lot of video content. So TurnTube sort of tries to narrow that problem down and figure out how do we actually solve this by creating channels and creating small groups of big video hangout groups almost that are themed and similar like-minded people can come and interact on certain videos and channels. So let's actually see if it. Yeah. So you can all follow along if you'd like. If you go to TurnTube.tv, I'll let you go. Sorry.
So you can log in with Facebook. Let's do that. So say I want to go hang out and watch videos of cute dogs.
Everyone likes cute dogs.
Because everyone likes cute dogs. So right now there are 2 in the queue. And say we want to add some more videos of puppies because who doesn't like puppies? So I can queue some up. Rainer's actively adding some as well, so he's beating me to it and talking to me.
logged in as David Gaynor. You know. So we can also go back and give us a suggestion for a type of room you guys want.
Ball pits.
Okay. So that's YouTube. Scary. Awesome. So we're adding. So basically, one of the ideas behind this is you can see on Rainer's computer, he's watching the same thing as I am at the same time, and we can't really fast forward or remove, go back. So we're in sync completely, or as good in sync as Wi-Fi.
So yeah, let's actually dive into that a little bit more. The basic premise is that when you create a room and start playing a video, the room keeps track of all the videos that are in the queue, but it also knows which video is playing and when it was started. And then anytime somebody else joins the room, it tells you, it starts the video at a certain offset from the current time compared to the time that the video was started. That's all kept track of on the server, so we don't have to worry about like different clients being on different clock sync issues with that. And then the other thing is that we use sockets to do the chat and to notify all the clients when a new video has been added to a queue. And also, we don't have to deal with that for when the video is over because we have a listener for video being complete that says like this, I just finished this video, I think this is going to be the next video. And if you're the first person to request the next video, then it sets the time video started to be right then. Otherwise, if someone else has already started that next video, it'll just render the video that's currently playing at the correct offset, and everything should be corrected by the time that the next video starts. What we really wanted to do was prevent people from pausing the video at all, so that there's no way to get out of sync with each other. But unfortunately, the YouTube hiding, just because you can hide the player controls, you can still tap in the middle. That's it. As long as you want to watch the video on your own pace, as soon as you're done with the video, you'll be back in sync with the rest of the video.
So why is this useful at? For the users, the users get categorized video channels. Like I said, there's a lot of content being uploaded, and finding the right stuff is not appropriate just by a simple search term. You want to see continuous stream of a lot of such videos. And so you can come on TurnTube and just join the channel, and you're guaranteed to find awesome videos categorized by other people. And what does it mean for YouTube or content creators? Well, for them it means a lot of direct feedback based on certain types of videos. For YouTube specifically, they can get a lot of feedback based on what people are talking about certain types of videos. And to make money, monetize this app, we could probably sell a lot of this analytics data of what types of videos are showing up a lot more. I mean, there are frequency maps that we can create for certain videos in general, and possibly find trends on a lot of YouTube data analytics that we can do. So that's TurnTube.
And it's live, so you guys can go to it.
Yeah, you can go to turntube.tv.
Questions?
How live are you committed to it being? Say, for instance, it winds up at Hacker News and everyone's using it.
So it's not really spammer proof right now. Like we're assuming we're at Olin that the honor goes in effect. And respect for others includes not just like jamming on the add to queue button before like Rickroll video like 1,000 times.
So the next biggest feature I think to get to that point would be adding admin roles or moderator roles for each room, I guess. Initially just be us trying to kill people trying to mess with us or spam or stuff like that.
Yeah, like some sort of control. Like you can pretty much make a room for anything right now. That's not necessarily a great thing.
Oh, another thing is just like along the lines of administrative controls. We don't really have a lot of, you can't delete a room once you've made it. You can't remove things from the queue once you've added them. So it would be stuff along those lines that we would add to really get it ready to go.
Yeah.
They made audio, guys.
Oh, no, you're not.
Okay, so I'm Jessica, this is Keely, and today we're going to talk to you about our app, Tempo. So we actually started this in a previous sprint prior to this final project began, and we were working with a local startup in the Boston area called Rev, who's focused sort of on like productivity type of apps to make your lives easier. And so the space that we were really interested in is daily routines, things that you tend to do on a regular basis, because for both of us at least, we're pretty inefficient with them. When we wake up and go through our daily routine, maybe checking our email, brushing our teeth, talking to friends, whatever it is, we are very inefficient and take much longer than we know that we should. Sometimes our alarm goes off and we just hit snooze, 10 times. And we really wanted to do something that would make us more efficient, but also make the routine more fun so that we can sort of, we actually want to go through it and we'll end up getting more used to it and even make it fun potentially. So our idea is to set music to the routine. So you get to set up the routine that you go through every day, the activities that you want, whatever order it's going to be, and you set how long you think each of them should take you. For example, like brushing my teeth is going to take me 2 minutes, and I don't want to go over that and be inefficient, so that's what I'll set up. And I get to choose whatever song I want and set that to the activity. And so Keely is going to demo.
I'll walk you through
our
it.
app.
So first thing we do is log in so that we can kind of have our own music routines to persist.
We're not calling your password.
My password's Keely. Oh.
Never mind.
And you can check it out. You have to have an RDO account, so but you can check it out.
Oh, audio cable.
Okay, cool. And so we have a couple routines right now, and then I'll make another one. So my morning routine, I like to check my email and shout out to Kesha, brush my teeth with a bottle of Jack, and so forth. And so we can play it. Okay, we're just gonna play it through the laptop. So it's playing, and it's only gonna play for 12 seconds, because just for a demo. And then it'll go to the next activity. And so this will kind of keep me on task. We also have another thing, but so let's make another routine, and we'll call it workout, because beach season is coming up. And so let's do some abs, and we'll do abs for like I don't know, 200 seconds, and I don't know, and then a song. Okay. Song request, Chris Brown, sure. Run It by Chris Brown. That seems like a pop-up. And so I can add that to my routine, and then say I want to do some biceps, and I'll only do those for 30 seconds, because I'm just so strong. And we'll do another song. What did you say? He Diddy? Okay, that works. And so we can add that to our routine, and then, but let's say like I wanted to do some biceps first, or like I wanted to, so I can switch the order like that, or I can edit it and do it for like maybe, I don't know, 170 seconds instead. And then I can save my routine, and then it'll take me here, and then it's right here. We can like listen to some P Diddy, and then if I don't want a routine anymore, I can just delete it. So. Any questions? Yeah, Josh.
What happens if the activity is longer than the 30?
That's a great question. Currently, it just defaults if I, like, say I put in like 7,000 seconds or whatever, it would just take it down to 300 or whatever the song actually was. But
That was a good practice.
yeah, I mean, so we did, yeah, we like, had it do that, because otherwise it would just like be
for the rest, and it's kind of boring. Yeah, that's it. Anything else?
We should add, we originally envisioned this being like most useful as a mobile app, but like for the purposes of this class, we're doing this, for a computer. But if you think about the idea of, an app where the alarm is this app, like you don't have to turn off your alarm system.
And you can carry your phone with you when you're like going through your workout or whatever it is that you're doing. Yeah.
Have you thought about a way to tune a specific section of the song? As opposed to just having the first.
Oh, so like if you wanted it shorter to like start like in the middle of the
Start in
song.
the middle, start at the chorus or something like that.
Yeah, we talked about doing it. We talked about having some sort of like slider type thing where you could kind of line it up, but we just didn't get around to it. Yeah.
Next steps for this app?
Mobile. Yeah, we have a bunch. Mobile definitely is something that we want to look into, like either like a mobile web app or like an actual like iOS type thing.
Right now, in order to play music, it relies on the user having an audio account. If you're not logged into audio, you can only get to play 30 seconds of each song, which is not really useful if you're trying to time something that's longer than that. So we want to add some sort of way to check whether or not the user is logged into audio, so that we can notify them of what's going on, or that they won't be able to.
Yeah, and then the other thing is like between each activity, currently just switches to the next one. So like, to just play like that song clip and then the next song. But like, having some sort of like either like tone or text to speech to like be like, okay, like now brush your teeth, or whatever. So to tell you, and that'll kind of like help to keep you more on pace. Thank you.
Alright, so I think that's all the presentations we have for today. So we'll have about 30 minutes left in this session. All the apps can be set up at like different tables, demoing their stuff. We have bagels in the back, which we'll get set up. So feel free to what? Yeah.
For those of you guys who are actually working here in the
I
beginning,
need to pee like
what's kind of cool is this is a student-led class throughout the semester, and everyone who just saw present hadn't done web development before this class started. So what you're seeing right now is 4 weeks of work for people who just started doing web development for this one semester.
And this class, for those semesters, this is actually their fourth big project they've done, maybe their fifth probably project they've done during this class. They've done 2-week projects up to now, and this is their first like big long 4-week project. And so as you're going around talking to students, you can also ask them about the other apps they've created. I'm sure they'll be happy to talk about that. And if you're more interested in the class and how those run, you can also talk to any professors. That's Corey, me, Jolly, and Tim up here. And yeah, thank you so much for coming. Stick around for some bagels and talking with the creators of the apps. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. Students, get your app set up at your table.
Are you using your computer or my computer?
I need some of that store macro right now.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Don't have any more of that.
Because I am falling apart.
No, don't have any more of that. That's bad for you, like actually. That's gonna make you crazy.
Well done.
Yeah, they use the front.
Completion. Success. Flying colors. Victory. Where are the badges though? On the middle? This side.
I'm so glad it's
Good job.
I missed your Good.
How'd it go? I'll give it to you right now.
No. No. Hold down the fort while I go to
It's just called Build X.
I'll build the X, you do that one? I want to see the picture of like Rob's running.
Yeah, they're like real different. Like real nonsense.
Good job.
What are those?
Yeah?
Build X. That's an old app.
Thank you for taking it. Wow. So you guys think you're able to do it?
I don't know what I'm just doing. I think I don't know. I think like trying to do so that it's on your phone, but not like maybe like a web app like on your phone, and then maybe I don't know, maybe iOS. That might be a little bit.
So, still there. What you can do is, these banners essentially tell you what to do. Submit project, check out what people have done. You could submit ideas, have people actually go through the ideas that you put up. Maybe because you already took the class that did that project, or you just don't have the time or the resources.
Why is it so build? Oh, so it's not build day.
No. It's sort of like, we just call it build decks because it's sort of like build day, except but like on internet. Yeah.
Talk to me, Nico. You wanted to build.
Yeah. So this is what Amanda put up. It's like she made aerogels. So the description would usually be longer, but we were just doing slides. So you would have like relevant files that, so you could upload this. Submit a project. So what I'm saying, so what I'm saying, check my Dropbox.
I told my dad to go grill them.
So I have my tangent mechanics paper. I don't have anything from it, but I do have files. So I can be like, okay, let's upload this paper. Huh? This is Dropbox API. Oh no, it saves to Dropbox. It just takes it for that. My own project. And I upload that data and my profile, my data. Look at them. Let's look at these things.
Okay, the Dropbox links. They were actually getting
No, it's just straight from Dropbox.
Create a Dropbox line that you so it creates a
Yeah, it's available forever.
so you can actually do that.
Like it's okay, so like the preview creates like a video file.
Yeah, it's really cool. You can also submit ideas.
Good job.
Like, I don't know, a cat that cleans itself.
I crossed out the little number. Yeah, I got it wrong.
Do you have your Bible? Robot kitty.
Can I touch you?
Yeah, do you have the Bible?
So this is just the idea space right here is like something that's a lot of but they don't really have like a idea. So you can actually adopt it So is this something that isn't like listed once you actually start doing it and like you upload like right, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can actually like adopt this.
Mine is okay.
Is there any
Right, how
is there any way to update progress?
It's fine.
So we had like a thing where one person how complete is a project, but we didn't get it. She's on my UOCD team. We were thinking of doing like each project will have a different color background depending on the teacher level and so on.
Oh, teacher, I read it.
But we couldn't
What this is over?
It's really just the one dog.
I thought that was Jane's Derpy dog. I'm tired.
Oh yeah, It worked. Changed. We're in the same thing. I have a short scope meeting. I'm gonna take a nap. Sorry for breaking. That was so nice.
Yeah, $100. I don't know, I can't invest in it. Oh, I need a money launderer though, so here's the I also love those cats. I don't know who the hell wants it. So, I really want accessible lab. You are? iOS? Android? You have an iPhone, right?
I have an iPhone.
Yeah, okay.
My first step is going to be and then the Android is one of the
Well, if you're doing music, audio is libraries are probably. You might actually want to skip that. Yeah, I don't think mobile web is going to be useful, like, especially if audio is yeah, so I would just be like, because they want mobile apps to be responsive. So you can learn mobile app development, just like we all have to, and yeah, we want to do the IF and really on it myself. We'll see if it happens, but yeah, it's going to be I also know
We just want professors.
David!
We just want to say thank you.
so much to the professors. She took like we did a ton of work this semester. Made an awesome class for us in this spare time. You guys are amazing and awesome. And thank you for dealing with us at like 4 in the morning. Find you in your room. Theoretically, you know.
Not like that ever happened.
You guys are like amazing and awesome. Like I learned so much.
Thank you guys for taking the class. That means a lot to us as well.
Otherwise, we'd be teaching to an empty
Yeah,
room.
that would be kind of
really embarrassing.
Really sad.
Charlie would have liked it. This was easy. It never occurred
Oh god, they mashed up every product.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Hey guys, this up for a second, Michelle.
Hey, listen, hi, Michelle from marketing. I just want to let everyone know, unless you're going to be doing this, which I don't think you are, because you're going to North Carolina, that I'm looking for an intern this summer to work in the marketing department on a very cool project that's about getting all of the Olin students to curate innovations of the week that are going on outside of the world and curate them and pull them together into a kind of viral messaging that we'd send out to the world for cool things that are happening in the world as curated by Olin students. So I'm looking for a student to help me with both getting all of the students together here, and I know you've been involved in this, Tim, and Jolly has too, but thinking ways to pull the students in here, but also helping us think about an online system for gathering information and a promotional plan. So it's like a great opportunity from the ground up, and you'll be paid to do something. And Tim, I'm assuming you're not available because I heard you got a scholarship, right, or a fellowship.
Yeah, Jolly and myself are both in that program.
Yeah, so that's why I'm announcing this, because you were both originally involved in thinking about this, but I'm assuming you're not going to be available as much during the summer.
Yeah, get back at us in September.
Okay.
But this is a great opportunity. Michelle's put a lot of work into this, and there's a lot of support from board trustees. And like Olin is very behind this idea. So if you're at all free this summer and have any interest in this, like do talk to Michelle.
Yeah, and I have little flyers if anybody's interested in it, and we'll try to figure out a way to pay well. I've got some ideas around that. It'll be a little more than the Olin usual, you know, because I know you guys can go out and make money elsewhere. So anyway, but come see me if you have any questions.
Alright guys, go back to hang out with your apps.
Whoa! Delete them with that thing.
I'm gonna drop it off. Yeah. Facebook actively cuts down on community and does not rainforest every year for year long. Yep, just cut it down. I think Mark Zuckerberg needs to.
No, they put a giant microphone on the X graph. Yeah. Oh, wait, okay.
Are you guys use Socket IO or Fang? There's a lot of unique Mexican producers out there.
Yeah. Summer 09! One more day, 24 hours.